where machines are expensive. Those things are not because when you leave school you're like, oh, I can just buy a basic laptop and because una actual laptop it just feel like dying. So you find hardware is really expensive, when you're starting. So people need to mostly still education. They need to be taught at school or even just somewhere whereby these things are cheap, and you should know what type of hardware you use, because person who does motion design and person who does animation, either 2D and 3D, those are all different machines.
That we should have like a animation festival kind of thing that should be done or be hosted by A3K, because I think they're the ones who should champion this in collaboration with all other maybe partners and everything. It will be a very good avenue for people to come and for such an event, come and network, come and learn about animation, see who's out there, and for these people who we see wako nyuma ya screen to come out there and actually meet their counterpart creatives from wherever they are. When they could be from Eldoret, Mombasa, Kisumu, everywhere.
So I think the struggle is, and that I will solve. Everybody is trying to, because there's no industry, there's no pool of animators, so everybody is going out like Louis Animation Studio, right? So everybody wants to start their own studio, and doing what we're trying to do here is just coming, creating something that will be has longevity.
I was very surprised that young ladies in Form 4, Form 3 already know about this process. Someone's telling me about, what frame rate do you use? I'm like, In high school, I didn't know. All I knew about animation was that I could draw other characters. I could draw Batman. Those are the only things I knew, So when I see that, it inspired me to know that this is someone who'd probably come out and say, this person talked to me. I'd like to talk to them. So for me, that's what I'd love to grow. So I can't say I'm not there, but like they've all said, you start and you grow.
Like I was saying, like we went to Lavalate at a point just to network, see studios gani ziko huko, because there are a lot of studios there, and one of the interest ilikuanga there's a studio that had Unreal Engine na whole room iko green screen. I was like, even Kinabilo waliona tu nimesimama hivi tu nimeanza kufikiria like 50 ideas we can use that room for. So unapata, but hadi kama tools ziko, most people who have them wajui kuzitumia to the fullest potential, because I was like, you have Unreal Engine, I know Cinema 4D, those are two compatible softwares, and we can create god tier things. Because if you look, because I was doing research on Fox, how they're doing nowadays their sports, oh my god, the level of details they're doing, it's next level. So I was thinking, like, you have basic room like this, we can't reach there because they have millions and millions of dollars to spend, but we can do something with this room that is less than just photography. Like, we can push the boundaries to attract clients na pia si tupate clients. So just looking at it in corner, the platform ziko, but some people don't know how to use them, and if you try to explain how to use them to them, they're like, hapana, si tumezoea. We don't do anything else kama sisi. So unapata kuna hiyo barrier, so your barrier, so unapata it's just a bit challenging once in a while.
And which challenges have you guys faced? For me, when I was starting up, the biggest challenge I faced was working with clients, project management and pricing. So nilikuwa napata job, nimefurahi. So like the first time I got a job, nikaambia my mom nimepata job, and then it wasn't paying that much because at the time hata sikuwa najua how to rate the service.
First client ever.
So I got the job, alafu I started. It was a 3D animation. So at the time hata sijui, like I'm supposed to maybe ask for a down payment. Hakukuwa na any contract or any agreement. Me just started the job. Then nikauliza story na payment, ako like nitakulipa endelea tu kufanya. So kwa kile niko like, okay, I trusted the guy for some weird reason. Mimi naendelea kufanya job. Ikafika point I was like, yeah, this guy is not going to pay me. So nikaachana nayo, and from there sasa ndo nikaanza kulearn. I learned from my mistakes. So what kind of challenges have you guys faced?
I would say the biggest challenge is definitely the education bit of it, telling a client that the amount of workload that this thing you're asking for is this much, and trying to make them understand this will cost this much. It just causes a lot of confusion, because now you see what happens is they'll go look for the cheapest service, and then later you just find that the cheapest thing could be the most expensive thing. There's one advert that I saw, I don't want to mention the company, but it was very questionable what they did or how they even approved such an animation. And now you see it goes out there and it trends on Twitter for the wrong reasons, because now people ask, like, how is such a thing being approved by the company? So this education bit needs to be really discussed about between us as artists and maybe the consumers and the clients, so they get to understand that what you're asking for needs to be much better. So that's one of the biggest challenges that I see.
Struggles as an animator, because you're not only an animator or a creative, you're always a student, right? You're always trying to find new things. So I think struggle is just part of learning, and they're there. Whereby sometimes you, like you said, you're excited, you're over your head. This is a gig. I'm not going to sleep tonight, right? I'm just going to think of how am I supposed to do it. And so struggles are there, but I think we learn from them. Like, one, it's just like people don't really understand what animation is where we are. I remember somebody telling me that I asked them what lies ahead of me, because I was a student then. And I remember this person telling me that don't even be deceived, there's no animation industry in Kenya, right? And that got me, because I remember even sharing with Bill, and even that really fueled the idea of Void, because Void was all about and is all about bringing people together and collaborating with people. And again, when you figure that you are trying to find a 3D artist, we are there, but we are scarce. Everybody, some guys in Eldoret, some guys in Mombasa, some guys in different places. So I think the struggle is, and that I will solve. Everybody is trying to, because there's no industry, there's no a pool of animators, so everybody is going out, like Louis Animation Studio, right? So everybody wants to start their own studio, and doing what we're trying to do here is just coming, creating something that will be time as longevity.
Okay. On my end, I'll mention a couple. Like both of them said, like, even the reason why the studio and Void came together is like, we looked at each other like, oh, you're missing this, we're missing this. Let's just join. We can remain separate entities, but if the income comes or a project is there, the money wise or none, we just do a collab. It just made work easier, and it was at least ulitoka from a certain perspective, where Bill doesn't have to deal with everything, Lewis and Jerry. So wanajua Breton akopata asset department yake. But two major struggles that I have, it's hardware, where machines are expensive. Those things are not, because when you leave school, you're like, oh, I can just buy a basic laptop, and kosa una actual laptop na get you just feel like dying. So you find hardware is really expensive, when you're starting. So people need to mostly still education. They need to be taught at school or even just somewhere whereby these things are cheap, and you should know what type of hardware is, because person who does motion design and person who does animation, either 2D and 3D, those are all different machines. So unaweza danganya ambe, oh, mtu wa 2D unahitaji 3080 RTX, and it costs like 300. You don't need, you just need a base. So like, just education of hardware. The other thing I can mention is, like, in terms of education also still need, whereby I face this challenge once. There is money, but people are not willing to give it. So let me give you an example, like what Bill amesema animation. I won't mention the company, but kuna mtu alitu approach at a point when I was at school. I was like, oh, I need an animation. I have a budget of like 1 million shillings. Kijana tu kama mimi tu. So I have a budget of 1 million shillings. I was like, oh shit, you have 1 million shillings. He didn't know, he didn't have the skills like we did at that time. So I was like, yo, check, you give us like roughly like 300-400 G's, we'll do all the work. You don't have to ring, Ghana, not to fuck Ghana. The guy was like, no, me, I can only give you like 100 G's. I was like, bro, you have $1 million. Then we're like, hey, atufanye hiyo kazi, atufanye kazi ya ufala. Let's just be professional, right? Even though we know each other. They ended up doing the animation. It ended up in that company's Instagram. Wait, the thing looked bad. So bad. And then, like, Bill, how was it even approved? You're like, how? Like, for that kind of budget, the what we could have made was something bombastic, could still be trending till now. So you find like that, whereby the opportunities, but the people who are willing to give us the opportunities don't want to, because sometimes they don't give us that type of money, because $1 million is not a lot. Mostly if it's a big company, that's like pocket change to them. But they're not willing to give all that money, yet they'll go for something cheaper, the same cost, and you're like, why? You can just sit down, negotiate, come up with a reasonable price, and we meet your requirements. Yeah, so I can say that, but mostly for me, it's hardware.
I think for me, I usually take it from the side of, them they come from 3D. So I look as a 2D person. So for me, I think the biggest challenge for me was mostly equipment at first. Because for me, I feel like in my field, I had everything. I could write, I could design the characters, I could storyboard. Now, sound was a bit tricky because I needed someone to actually make the sound. And now, creating something now to create the production process. So for me, that was number one. And then number two, I think, is also being able to find talent. It's hard. Like, fine, you'll do the production, but at some point, you'll be burnt out. To make sure it's consistent, you need people. And that's when I came to realize talent in Kenya, at least I'd say, or at least maybe in Africa. Okay, I've seen a lot of people who have good stuff from, say, Uganda, Ghana, Nigeria. People can really, really do some good work. But being able to get them on board is a hard thing. So for me personally, specifically, because the craft that I practice in, it requires strong drawing skills to be able to produce good work. If you do not have strong drawing skills, you're labda wanze kuandika. So for me specifically, those are my specific challenges I think that I have starting out. Yeah.
One thing I've realized is you guys are mentioning that there's scarcity in knowledge. So for you guys, you already seem to have garnered that knowledge. Mnajua how to maneuver the industry from how you're talking. And you asked why I started this podcast ilikuwa to help digital creatives learn from each other. So unaona kama nyenye already you have an understanding. Kuna watu they're starting up. Naona your knowledge vile mnasema. So the purpose for this ni you guys, because I can't do it alone. That's why I'm bringing in other people. So mkuje, like you said something about awareness. Talent is there. It's actually there, ni venye saa watu hawako out there and we don't know how to reach them. So maybe if we created maybe events where you showcase, people submit their work and we showcase the animations, maybe a 1 minute or 10 minutes animation, a couple of them, kind of like a screening. Inaweza kuwa poa. So we build that exposure for people wenye wako chini ya maji. That will also be good. We were talking also about Chris Do. His goal inakwanga ku impact 1 billion people. Sijui kama mimi nitafika 1 billion people, but my goal is also to impact people, because unaweza kuta information yenye Chris Do ana share, yes, it's valuable and imesaidia watu wengi, but unakuta he's speaking from perspective ya country yenye anatoka. So some things don't apply to us maybe in terms of finances. So creating this platform sasa in Kenya inasaidia Kenyans specifically, and hopefully even Africa in a few years time. It will be a unique space for just Kenyans, because our content itakuwa resonate with us ourselves.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you've mentioned something interesting, and I think we brought it up a little bit with everyone here. And it's about having this space where maybe artists come together and share their creations, be it 2D, 3D, motion graphics, and all of these things. It is something that we spoke with Chief Nyamwea, if he's watching this, from A3K. We had, some time back, we had like an online conversation, meeting with him, and was it Mandela?
Yeah,
Jeff Mandela. And I put this idea forward to him that we should have like an animation festival kind of thing that should be done or be hosted by A3K, because I think they're the ones who should champion this in collaboration with all other maybe partners and everything. It will be a very good avenue for people to come and for such an event, come and network, come and learn about animation, see who's out there, and for these people who we see wako nyuma ya screen to come out there and actually meet their counterpart creatives from wherever they are. When they could be from Eldoret, Mombasa, Kisumu, everywhere.
Because one thing I came to realize is people really appreciate the community, because yes, utakuwa behind the laptop by yourself, but ukikuja kuinteract na watu una feel ni kama you're not alone, like there are other people who understand you. Like mnafanya the same thing, so it builds that community. Hiyo ndo na try ku build at the moment.
That's good.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, with the Void, I think we just bunch of weirdos. This is why, yeah. We have a desire to bring people together, even if you're not coming to work with us, because we have a Discord whereby we want full of creatives. You become a graphic designer, music, whatever. You just come in, because that is how we are going to work together. We need to network. We need to find a place whereby we can work together. That we have a YouTube channel whereby, and I've seen Bill pushing that again and again, whereby we can do most of our work that we've done that we'll find in our social media, like IG or whatever. You will always go find them behind the scenes on YouTube. And I think that is one thing that because we don't want to show you the final product, but again we want to show you the struggles that we go through even as artists. And I think that is just beauty. If you are somewhere there starting out and you're like, oh man, I want to start animation, and you've never known how this thing is done, maybe where you want to fall in love, in quotes, you want to go and see the struggles and and I think community is very, very important when you're talking about animation in Kenya especially, because we are scattered in places. Atuko place moja. So collaboration is a thing. So
it's like me moving to Kenya just into to set trend in Eastern Africa. Because that day I was surprised during the International Animation Day. Like people from UGTZ came to Kenya just because of walikuanga wengi, don't just small. You expect like half of like we took just a whole hall that in Azadi and 1,000 people. Half of them were outside. So like with time, I think if we grow the industry, mostly if Kenya takes the lead, I think we can dominate the industry. But nearly to pole tundo muendo, we just brick by brick, because like we said, we didn't find anything there. We have the skills and
it's true.
Pole. There'll always be challenges and stuff. But me, the only thing in Animizangi is finding somebody with the tools, but they don't know how to use it. Oh my god. This tool. If they use it this way, we can dominate the industry. But then you can't force people to do what you have, because ideas need to follow kuna agenda yake. So that's the only thing. But brick by brick to tutajenga, like they say, Discord challenges. They always have challenges most of the time. Whenever we're free to interacting, we're going to welcome in. Even as a question, I mean, some people may text via from A3K group on I'm not the best, but I can help you tweak 1, 2, 3. I'm always open door policy. If I have time, I will help you out. If I don't, just be patient with me. Then the party feedback. But that's just it. Yeah, we just open book. Kujiuliza swali, usituogope. Uhepe. Yeah, any questions rusha ikitulemea, we'll figure out together, because at the end of the day, we're trying to create a community. Because nikikusaidia ndo utanisaidia kesho.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, oh, you're really good at graphic design. We want to create a poster. I'll hit you up and be like, yo, kwapi? That's how you network basically, because the only way you recommend somebody new kimjo know their skills. So if we do just open book policy where could anytime you want, we can talk, have fun, and just chill.
Yeah, so I think most of it in terms of community has mostly been mentioned, and I think generally that's the whole essence of, for me personally, I feel. And one thing I like to say is that, you know, a lot of people are drawn into the whole aspect of, you're an animator, you have to be mainstream, you have to go out there, create a studio, make a film on Netflix, but you don't have to, you know. Like you're saying, if you had your own community, you know, you don't have to be at the uko mainstream, but if you have your own community of people who value your work, then that's enough, you know. Ikwe was said to every day, the people who will be constantly coming at you, hey, by the way, I'm booking, I'm coming. Even if it's 500 people, that's enough of a community. Because everyone wants to be mainstream, you know. Everyone wants to have their series on Netflix, on Hulu, I don't know on what, you know. But even if you have your own small productions, I mean, there's also another guy I'd like to shout out. I don't know if I don't know if you know him. He's on YouTube. It's called J Skits or something like that. He has very, very simple animations, but they are very funny for the Kenyan community. You know, if you see them, they'll see them. They are very, very funny. You know, and that's the kind of thing. He didn't have it. He's not mainstream. He's not at using all the gadgets in the world. It's very simple stuff, and it makes Kenyans laugh. So I think, you know, for me, I'm always a person who advocates community over mainstream. Yeah, so I think community is important.
Now, I'd like to understand the projects that you guys work on. So you partnered, there's Wide-Eyed Studios and Void Artelier. Artelier.
With Artelier.
Acha kwanza tuanzie. Yeah, where did that come from kwanza?
With Artelier is like, me and Bill sat down and we were like, you know, we see a space, and I think there's something that we started seeing when we were back in school, whereby because I took what choppy. I'll be like what, but again you'd notice all the students would go and jam in probably Bill's booth or Louis' booth, teach us something, right? I was doing all the transnight to see go work somewhere. Flani, you work cycle, right? So I think when we finished school, it was something that we were talking about. We were not only to go wengi, whereby to get them there walking, going to club, when we were like, guys, we need to come with an animation shot. Every student want to do that, right? And I think there's a time whereby Bill gave me a call early in the morning and he was like, Louis, I think this is the time. And so we needed to come up with a name. And Void is simply just creating from nothing. It's just like probably a plain canvas, and you're just trying to plain paper is trying to scribble
an empty viewport.
And Artelier is just a French word meaning a studio space. Artelier, it's Artelier, French word meaning studio space, whereby creative can come, like this space where we can come and just talk about creatives.
Simgesema to studios. Why?
It's now fancy. It's not fancy, but what we are doing right now, we are talking about it, right? It's a conversation starter. Let's talk about it, and probably then you'll get to know us a little bit better.
I like that.
Actually, no simple. I think like I said, Andrew Lebrov was inspiration pamoja na guy called Chris Smith from Rocket Lasso. Those guys inspired me in terms of cinema 4D. So I think at that time I didn't realize it, but then I realized our logo is very colorful. It's just an owl. And really it's an owl, very colorful. But right now, that's when in hit the other day we were having a discussion with Philip. And we're like, by the way, I've noticed our trend. We don't like dealing, or personally, we like dealing with the end product. Making things colorful, making things pop, making you look like it's like, oh, that's really good. Like now that, because at that time when we were creating our logo, it was just like, oh, let's create a fun logo. Because I just drew inspiration from where I was just like, oh, and I liked Wide-Eye. I like an owl. So it's like, oh, they have Wide-Eye. So like, let's do that. I don't have to put much thought into it. Let me just have a name, then we can continue. Then I was like, okay, cool, because we were doing a project called Gasika. That was the first time me and Philip collab, because I looked at Philip's work. I was like, oh, Philip, you really do amazing work. Let's do a collab, and things just happened before us today. So many knows that it was just that because of that colorful logo. That's when I realized that's why we partnered well with Void. We're like, as we like dealing with the end product after we finish the animation, give me the work, let me write, let me do compose, let's do everything. That's where we shine. You get. So out of that though, we with Philip we're like, let us that be our main focus mostly because okay, it was specialized because of the economy. But push comes to shove, that's our thing now. It just came the other day, it was like, and it complements our logo. So it was like, oh, White Eye Studio, yeah, we had three. We have a young lady called Antonina. She's not with us today, but maybe next time. Yeah, so it's just that simple. Yeah, White Eye Studio is just in that deep. Nilikuja tu na jina tu often the things I liked and then I just call it close and I was like I always say like sometimes you need to start then you grow because right now we may start with the one I used to but by the time I'm finishing 10 years in the industry the name has a change because you draw to inspiration to pole. So my goal is always adding more beginning tunaanza we'll figure out the rest mbele. That's just it. So that was just my policy. Let's start. The name and everything will get a deeper meaning, will get to understand what you do because at the end of the day, I was even telling Philip, I don't know how to do this. Even when I think everyone has experience. 3D is very big, even 2D. Kuna visual effects, kuna rigging, all those other stuff. So it's just about finding your niche. Pull it with time. So by the time you're finishing 5 years in the industry, you know what you want. Like me, I know me, I'm not a character animator at all. What would you mean about Mzambi in that department? I know how to do, but it's not my niche. So I've had to go out there and discover that. So I think just pole to the mwendo like I always say. Yeah.
Okay, I think I want to add on to what Lewis has said because Brighton, it goes way deeper than that. It goes That's deeper right. Because we used to sit at what's the place called? Central Park, yeah. That's where we've been. That was our office for some time as we were finding this place called Void Artelier. And we envisioned a place where people can become masters of their craft in storytelling for their audiences. So that's in a sense, that's the vision. We want to be masters in the craft of storytelling for the audience with the goal of inspiring people to act, right? So we want to inspire people with the stories that we make. And that's also one of the major reasons why our approach to the industry is kind of different. We are not, to some degree, not focused on getting clients, but we're trying to tell stories. And we did that with The Little Things, which is our first animated short with we did with Jeremy. And also another huge thing for us is collaboration. And that collaboration came with John from Wax. By the way, shout out to him.
I was to ask about that. I've seen you've collaborated with Waxesphere.
Yeah. We did a few projects last year with him. Well, actually, all of the projects we did last year we collaborated with him, with John. And that's also one of the things we're looking at. Like, it's collaborating with people is what's going to bring out like the best of everything. So that's essentially what the Void is. We want to inspire people and we also want to lead in that front of storytelling, telling stories. And even with that, we also have a current production. It's kind of in slow-mo, but we're working on it. We just a continuation of The Little Things, the story of Aleki and Rita. So the stories that we want to tell, we just want to inspire people and make them, wafurahi, they learn something, and we move forward and inspire artists as well. That's really the bigger vision. It's gonna be a long journey, of course, because to become a master is not something that So that's what it is.
And how do you feel now that you're here, this level that you are currently?
It feels there's been a lot of challenges, let me say. To get to where we are right now, we've faced a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
But just as Breton amesema, just start and move. You're better off doing something than just hoping to just saying I'm thinking of doing something versus someone who's actually doing it. So if you put that in a timeline, the guy who's thinking is here, the guy who's doing is moving.
Yeah.
So that movement for us has been very insightful, a lot of learning outcomes. And I think we know, we kind of have an idea of how we'll approach now from going forward.
Yeah.
For me, standing in Mifika battle, I still have a long way to go because I always check the guys who are at the top of the game. These guys are just beasts. Like you see things that they make you like, bro, how did you do that? You get like, we still have a lot of knowledge to absorb from them and learn because they're willing to teach us. Because mostly, one thing even these guys, I like Cinema 4D a lot, too much. It was even to the point that I'm like, yo, Brett, you need to learn Blender from now on. I'm like, no, never. But yeah, I don't think I'm yet there, but I'm somewhere. That's niko pahali. Then I'll reach there. I hope I reach there one day because at the end of the day, I'm still looking at the people at the top. They inspire me every day. Nalalanga tu nikiwa tu live streams za Maxon. Megeleka simu hapo umelala kwa kitanda umemarata 6 hours live stream. But they still give me inspiration each and every day. I watch because I'm like, there are new things I need to learn, there are new tools, there are new stuff. And then I still get my niche because at the end of the day, it's always about what you like doing. At the end of the day, you just continue because the more you get exposed to, the more you know what you like and what you don't like. So yeah, I'm not yet there. I'm reaching there, but you start, you move. You don't know the direction, but the direction that you form.
Yeah.
Because you wait for things to work out.
Yeah, it's true. That's
so
true.
pia experience hapo ninatoka. You know, patene leo na client. Sema patana client mimi kama sitaifanya. Like you get just that, and then with that you like even to come up with like how to deal with clients, how to deal with prices and everything. It was just us going hapo tunajaribu. Umeenda meeting umekauka. Unashinda unabaia nini clients akule. You hapo tu umesupa. So with those type of stuff you just learn pole pole panda tu your ladder. Then by the time maybe a year or two may pass, I learned some few things. I met Kina Bill, Kina Ho, Philip, Antonina, and the rest even JRL. Like you meet people that you didn't expect to meet. But at the end of the day, you just have to start. Because I did hardware. I didn't even have a hardware. I used to have a laptop, man. So I didn't use it. My machine. So but with that, because like village was smart. Like you start, then you learn. Hey, laptop is inside here. Na yaribu sana. Let me just sell it. Find a PC. Sawa. Kapigia delay siku. Leo unajua pale za graphic graphics. Akaniambia Breton talk to this guys talk. Unaenda hivyo tu na network. Even apart from just work, I met other people from like the hardware part of it. Friendships were brought up. Like you just learn life inaendelea tu. Sasa ndio mimi najua sio kinipigia na kwambia acha nikutumia namba ya Toma. I know everyone but just know that life inaanza kujiform and at the time unajipata community is already built, you already have network. Ukikuwa na issue hadi sahi, if we need to do a project, we know everyone in mind. We already know who we are going to call. Send so jump to Molly and Regan, everything we need to know about. Okay. Everything just went just slowly to pole. You just need to start. That's just it.
Yeah, so I think for me, I'd say, Bado, the people I look up to is number one, Aaron Blaze. He was a Disney vet. I look up to Proco. He's a good art teacher, mostly for 2D artists, a lot. And I look at them and what they've built for themselves, and I look at what they've done. And I feel that's where I wish I would want to take 2D, because it's something that people overlook. And I think there are many people who still value that aspect of just being able to draw each frame and every frame. So for me, being able to reach there, that's to me, I'd say, I wouldn't say I've reached, I just say I have potential, but I wouldn't say I've reached where I would love to reach. At least, for me, I think being able to finish where at least I've grown artists who can draw, who can start from there in many, many schools. Because I think in July, I was at Kenya High. I was giving a career talk for about animation and everything. And I was very surprised that young ladies in Form 4, Form 3, already know about this process. Someone's telling me about, what frame rate do you use? I'm like, In high school, I didn't know. All I knew about animation was that I could draw other characters. I could draw Batman. Those are the only things I knew. You know, so when I see that, it inspired me to know that this is someone who'd probably come out and say, you know, this person talked to me, I'd like to talk to them. So for me, that's what I'd love to grow. So I can't say I'm not there, but like they've all said, you start and you grow. Yeah.
It's your question is, how do you feel? Well, it's a journey, you know. It's a journey that has a lot of plateaus. You know, I think for me, when I graduated from school, I was ready for the industry, only to figure out that there was no industry, right? So I needed to make something, to fix something, to make something work. And I think the next stage was to come from school, get disappointed, go back to school. I remember when I would keep on telling Bill, and even that was the talk at home. Tell mom, you know what, for me, I need to go back to school. I need to go to school. And I'm looking at which school now. That's when I think I started messing up with, I did some courses with Animation Mentors, some courses with Animation Collaborative. That's when I started looking at people that can teach me something, you know. And I still look at Jindin Hash, I still look at these people to teach me. So like when you're talking about animation and getting somewhere, I think it's always but a journey, because I think me and Bill or Void, there's something that we understand, that we want to become masters at our craft, and I think it's something that is far reach, Kokumbali. But again, you see, we don't live as if Kokumbali. It's just like Billy Breton and myself, and we all agree is just start and let the ball roll, and maybe you'll tajipata hapo or whatever. I don't know, whatever comes. But again, the thing is, you need to start moving, going towards that direction.
I like that all of you mentioned that you're trying to achieve something. So I think that's also what motivates you. There's a level that you want to reach. Na ukifika bado unataka kuwa better and better. And I think that's what's going to make you guys grow. Mkiendelea tu
something that spooks us is the way we still know we need to grow. Somebody says that Void is one of, we will talk about this space. that thing can spook you, because the thing is, you know, we are looking at, the last time I went to watch a movie, I went to watch Across the Spider-Verse. And I was asking myself, what am I doing with myself? Because that thing was just like, for me, when I watched it blew my mind, right? Like the Arcane, the likes of the Arcanes. I'm like, how am I supposed to come from where I am to reach that? Because I don't want to do, I don't want to do commercial things. I want to tell stories. I want to be able to animate things. You know, I like what Capinto does. I like what Mbugwa does. But again, for me, I think for us, our approach, like Bill has said, we want to tell stories. We want to tell stories. We want to be able to inspire that kid somewhere who was just crazy with McKenna, with Super Strikers. We want to be able to tell stories. You know, and I think where our industry is only allows us to thrive in commercials. But again, we wanted to approach it from that direction. I think that is one thing, that is one angle that really pushes us to continue moving towards that direction.
As he's saying, it's the direction that we want to try and approach, not necessarily the commercial side of things. We want to continue to tell the story of Aleki and Rita. And we're working with Jeremy. Jeremy has written the script for the first release, let me say the second episode. He's also, we've worked on like the first season 2 and stuff like that. And that's just what's working. It's behind the scenes stuff. We're working on all of that stuff. It's come with a lot of challenges, of course, but we're going to definitely see how to approach it. So maybe expect like animated shorts using the same characters in the coming weeks until we get to develop now the full episode for release. This is now something we look to commercialize. So
basically,
it's now our product. It's not something that we're still thinking about. We might not put it on YouTube, but we want to make it a product and see how the possibility of going this direction as a studio. Will this work? Will this allow us to now tell more stories if this thing does work? And obviously we want it to work. So we will do everything possible to make it work. And For now, we're just trying to create like the awareness about these things. These things that are in production. So watch out, or just be on the lookout. Yeah.